What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another one of my videos. In today's video we have another fashion interview. We're going to be interviewing the man behind this brand right here, SANGIEV. I'm looking forward to this one, man. Make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoy this type of content, and without further ado, let's hop right into it. All right, let's get it. How you been? How's 2020 been treating you?
Good, bro. Very good. As you know, we are currently in a very lockdown situation here in the UK, especially down south in London and the sort of neighbouring areas. So we're into what is called a tier 4, which is pretty much what the lockdown was at the very beginning of the year, which sucks because obviously the time period that it's all happening in, this is all around Christmas. But besides that, it's been an amazing year, man. I mean, I can't complain. Obviously, the launch of the brand, loads of personal things have happened to me, which has brought a lot of joy to me. So I can't complain. It's been an ups and downs year, you know, and I feel like I can speak for everyone when I say that.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna jump right into it with the collection, man. As we said, it's been a difficult year for everyone, but for me, it's just been so great to kind of see YouTubers and like Instagram content creators or whatever just like really be pushing the envelope and restructure their work around the year that it's been, you know. And for you with your first collection, like, what was that process like in terms of like just, you know, having to reach out to manufacturer, working with people? Like, how were you mentally but also like physically trying to get everything sorted out?
Yeah. So, I mean, you know my story. Something that I've been wanting to do for years now, ever since basically my time at university, was to always sort of have my own brand and have my own, you know, be a designer per se. That's what my background lies in. I went to Central St. Martin's to study menswear fashion design, and then when I dropped out, I fell into styling, and then as I fell into styling, I fell into social. Well, I didn't fall into social media. I chose social media, and then whilst dabbling into both sectors, my passion and something that I've always wanted to do was to design, make clothes, and I have done so through little projects here and there, primarily like reworking vintage garments and like even my own jewelry collaborations that I did with Harry Hunt & Co. And so that was my way to kind of get my feet wet, if you want to call it like that. And it was a process of like finding the right people. Now, weirdly enough, and this just goes to show timing, like for years I had known certain groups of people, certain circles, but I never really tapped into it. And then just before lockdown, at the beginning of the year in 2020, I said to myself, let me actually tap into this and like go through with it, right? And so we actually spoke about, I spoke to my production manager now, Mike Key, incredible human being, just such a top lad. He works a lot with other designers and other friends, Broadening being one of them. So I was always, you know, aware of the guy, but I never really spoke about doing my own projects. And it wasn't until he saw me in the cargo trousers that I made, I think they're now like 3 years old. And he was like, bro, if you ever want to make these, hit me up. And I was like, cool. That wasn't what I thought would be my first product, but the fact that he looked at it and was like, that's actually a product that could be sold, gave me that confidence that I needed.
So for me, I picked up, obviously, like I have them right behind me, like I picked up the hoodie and the cargos. And the thing is, the hoodie I've actually been getting a lot of wear out of. Like you've seen on Instagram, or like even when we're texting or whatever, like I've been getting a lot of wear out of, not only because of the fit, like the fit is really me, like it's things that I like to wear, just slouchy, relaxed fit, all that. And talk to me about the inspiration of the design. There's a lot of Haider inspiration, there's a lot of SANGIEV with the elongated sleeves and the crop and all that. So talk to me about that.
Cool. So the hoodie, like you said, Haider, I mean, everybody knows that my love for Haider is crazy. So it's basically inspired by two pieces that I already own. One, which was the Haider Ackerman hoodie, the Perf hoodie, which it's a cut that I just absolutely love. And I've always said, like, Haider was definitely one of the pioneers when it came to that cut. So there's that. And then there's obviously another vintage hoodie that I have from Carhartt, where the cut is exquisite and the color is just absolutely insane. One thing that I really want to display my strength in, and I think I'm able to do so, is in the ability to use beautiful fabric and beautiful colors. Because I think if you nail those two, you've already got, I mean, this might sound blasphemous, forget the cut, forget everything else. If you've got beautiful fabric and beautiful color, you've already got the bare bone of a beautiful garment, at least in my opinion.
Not to cut you off, actually, like just circling back on that fabric, like honestly, one thing that I have to congratulate you on, because as a first collection, like the hoodie, the fabric here in Canada, it gets really cold, man. And we'll touch on that with the cargos, but like when you wear this hoodie, like you can really layer it in -20, -25 a degree weather. So that was really cool for you to kind of process it that way and think about that too, about how important it is to have solid fabric that people can actually also wear and feel comfortable in.
Thank you, man. And yeah, for sure. I mean, we definitely timed it with, I mean, like I said, with the way that I intend on releasing clothing, I don't really believe in seasonal pieces per se, like fall, winter, spring, summer, whatever. The heavy fabric has allowed us to then use the heavy hardware, which just kind of ties everything in beautifully, because if the fabric was a tiny bit lighter, we would have really struggled to use those Riri zippers, all those pocket detailing, the extra hardwares and all that sort of stuff. So everything kind of really came in, and it was like a beautiful blend and a beautiful marriage. And then obviously the pocket detailing, that comes from a lot of vintage military pieces from like the 40s, even early 30s. Just various elements. On the right pocket, you'll see the single pocket design with the pleat in the middle, with the 2 buttons. It's just beautiful. Then on the left side, we have the triple pocket design, which is obviously a lot more reminiscent of the pockets that you can find on utility vests. And then we have some more vintage military inspired pockets that are from the top as opposed to from the side. Now, this is a personal preference. I always think whenever you do side pockets, especially if they're left open without any zippers, there's a big chance of whatever you're putting inside to just fall out. For me, this was just a functional thing, but also stylistically, I think there's something really cool about just like this pose. And then the colors and the wash and the laser treatment was something that we played around a lot. Again, I wanted to kind of give in that washed, worn-in look and feel to the garment without distressing it too much. So we kind of fell onto lasering, and then we looked at loads of reference pieces of these etchers, and we came across this design. We worked on this design, sorry, that we enjoyed, and then we just printed it. And there we have the final garment.
Just to touch it on the cargos as well is, okay, so this was the first one, was already made. I just recently got it like about what, 3 weeks ago, I think, and I've been getting a lot of wear out of it.
Yeah, Canada Post don't fuck around, man. Canada Post. I hate Canada Post.
They took about a month and a bit to get it to me, man. It's crazy. It's been cold here, right? Like it's been -10, -15. And I've been wearing these and they work perfectly. For someone that's based in London to be able to design something this heavy duty and that brings warmth and that's comfortable for us here in North America is quite interesting, you know? And and they're a bit heavy as well, which I kind of like, you know? I like a heavy cargo pair of trousers or jeans. So did you know they were gonna be this warm? Did you kind of think about it? How did that process go?
So the cargos were already pre-made. So because I've already made mine, we literally took the cargos that I made and we were just like, copy this. And then because obviously this was a cargo that I made for myself, my personal style is what some might consider to be on the extreme end of things, right? So once we got the first sample, there were certain elements that I was like, okay, let's remove those. Because my initial cargos had loads of zipper pockets, which would have costed a ton to make production-wise, which would have bumped up the price of the cargos even more. And also, it was just like, okay, it's great for me. Will it sell? You know, you then have to think about a marketing side of things as well, you know?
I want to touch on style, man, because yo, it's something that I consider You know, I'm starting right now. I'm starting. You know, it's something that I consider extremely important. You know, just taste, style, and being able to just be authentic within what you wear and who you are and stuff like that, right? And I know that the demographic of viewers on YouTube is quite young, right? And very eager to get like designer pieces now. Like we've seen it, you know, we've seen it. Like, I mean, even us technically, like in our 20s, we're kind of rocking a lot of designer pieces, but there's a reason to that, you know, and you yourself, you've already developed that personal style and that sort of taste and the way you want to dress, right? And so what's your take and what's your sort of, you know, advice to sort of the younger generation coming in and wanting to sort of do what you're doing in the sense of like creating content and being a YouTuber and all that? What's your advice in terms of like, you know, their style, in terms of staying authentic, and in terms of just like really doing themselves and learning how to grow with time and not necessarily feel like, look, if I have a Raf piece on or Rick piece on, then, you know, everybody's gonna validate me. But it's you can have all those pieces and still dress like shit. Excuse my French.
Oh, calme-toi avec ton français, mon gars. It's weird because I feel like you've already answered the question within your question, which is quite cool, which means that I can just repeat it. No, but thank you for all the compliments and the kind words. You know, it's always very much appreciated, especially when it comes from you, bro. I've always said this, like one of the finest dressers, especially within the space of like the social media, YouTube, Instagram, whatever you want to call it. But even outside of it, bruh, you're a fresh motherfucker. Then, as far as your question goes, I think before I give my main answer, something that I want to tap into real quick, it's just so interesting because people are into fashion and people are into high-end a lot earlier these days, which really affects and comes into play with the answer that I'm about to give, especially when you say that people, you know, designer wear, like, bro, that shit is expensive. And the fact that some 16-year-olds these days are able to afford it, like I you know, I take my hat and I tip it forward, be it using your parents' credit cards, or if you want to make your own money by reselling, or whatever you're doing, in some way, shape or form, you're hustling your way to kind of getting these pieces. So I respect that, but also I want to make it known that me, you, a lot of people that I know didn't grow up age 16 with the clothes that we have now.
Tell them. It was rough, man. It was rough.
Like, yo, it was tough out here, bro. It was rough out here, bro. Up until the age of 18, mans was rocking Adidas or Nike sweatpants. Like, I didn't give a fuck about clothes. And so now to see kids being as young as 14 dripped in clothing is crazy to me. So I want to give that as a disclaimer, is that I respect what you lot are doing, but I'm going to speak from a different space, and hopefully you're able to apply that and apply it to you now. So doing what we do, which is, I think, just being honest and authentic with yourself. As you mentioned, it truly is about, you know, take inspiration from whoever, be it a celebrity, be it your favorite influencer, whoever, but just always put your own twist to it. And this is something that I always say in my YouTube videos, like whenever I'm showcasing outfits or lookbooks or whatever, it's not meant to be there for you to go out there and purchase the exact same pieces. So recently there was a bit of a debacle because I put the keyword affordable in one of my titles. And I knew that I was capping. I knew that I was capping.
You were capping, but I saw that.
Especially the last outfit was ridiculously expensive. But the first two were on the affordable side of things, right? But I knew that people would be like, the fuck is this shit? Like, it's not affordable. And my thought process is, and has always been, don't go and buy the exact same pieces that I'm showcasing. Instead, go and, you know, take elements from it that you enjoy and then replicate it, or go find it in a thrift store. Now, you're not going to find many high street videos on my channel for ethical reasons or just personal reasons. Like, I don't shop in high street. I don't shop much in high street, I should say. Like, I still love Uniqlo. Shout out to Uniqlo for sponsoring my boy Greg a bunch of times. Man's getting them bags, boy.
That's a light bag still.
Uniqlo, Arket, like a couple of brands that I know that are taking steps towards building a better future. They're not quite where we want them to be. And that's not to say that, you know, high street stores are not doing it and designers are doing it. I know there's some designers that are doing some shady shit as well, but it's a lot more, you know, thorough in process, hence I don't feel as bad. We spoke about authenticity. Oh, experimentation.
Yeah.
We didn't, like, me and you, and again, I'm speaking a lot with me and you because I feel like we have such a similar mindset, and it's just like...
I was gonna touch on experimenting with, yo, anyway, go.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, like, you don't know until you try it, right? So there's a video, I don't know when this video is going live, but there's a video that I'm doing that will go live on the first week of January. And I teased the boots already. It's the Rick Owens Kiss boots, the one with the fat heel and the fat platform. Like, those for me are very out there. Whether or not I will wear them, who knows? But I've got them because I want to try, I want to push myself and see how I feel in them. And you're not going to be able to know how you feel about something until you try it. And I think that is basically what experimentation means. You don't have to go out and try the outfits that you want to try. Personally, I do, just because then it really puts me in the outside of my comfort zone area. Yeah, just try it. Some might work, some might not. Some might work for me, some might not work for you. Some might work for you, some might not work for me. So it's a personal journey.
The experimentation actually brings me to sort of like my next point, because what you're saying is so true, you know, like you never know, you have to try, you know, and you have to get yourself out there. And I feel like it's super important for sort of like the younger generation to understand that. And sometimes you don't necessarily need the high end. You can kind of try it with sort of like the fast fashion retailers or like smaller brands, just to kind of grow your style a little bit, just to kind of play around a little bit.
Those areas, bro, those are the ones to go.
Right? Takes me to my second point, which is like, so given the position that you're in now, right? Do you see yourself staying on the path of fashion with YouTube and content in general? Because, you know, again, it comes down to like that sort of like, you want to try different things, you want to release different type of content, you want to release different type of videos. It's not just about the clothing, you know, there is Sanj that's also into other things and that want to kind of have these kind of chats, and that has friends that are not even into fashion. And I find that sometimes it's hard for viewers to kind of engage with you right away when you kind of give them something other than that's not fashion. And I know we've talked about it, touch on that a little bit, and going into 2021.
Fashion is my passion. Like, it really is. Like, I love it, right? So to me, it will always be an underlying theme of this channel, or at least of my channel, sorry. And it's interesting you mentioned about trying new things, because recently I've been in a mood where I have been trying new things. I have been putting myself a bit more out there. I spoke to Magnus about this as well, and he really embraces the whole like being vulnerable, not necessarily on camera, but just like showing a more authentic side of him, which was interesting because back then I used to be like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. Like, I'm comfortable with talking about fashion, but there's certain things that I still wouldn't talk about on an open public or forum, you know? But especially with the whole like steroid injections and then the face puffing up and then sharing that story kind of has allowed me to really tap into that open, vulnerable side of things, and just ever since then, bro, like mentally I'm in a weird amazing place, and I'm so thankful for it. I don't know if it's because of that, but I know that has definitely triggered something in me, which has then allowed my content to be a lot broader. I mean, I'm doing freaking relationship Q&As with my brother and my girlfriend, and they're like, to me, they're funny. Like, they're long form content and people are still fucking with it. And I think it's a good reminder. And some people have said this to me. It's just like, yo, we fuck with the content. And obviously we come to you for fashion, but you've got to realize and you've got to remember that, you know, fashion, there's a lot of content creators. There's a lot of people doing what you do, but people come back to you for you and your personality as well. And also kind of tying it back into the brand, like, and I've said this to you before, and a lot of YouTube content creators have this thought process where, you know, once YouTube does become your full-time job, or once it becomes your main winner, you are aware of what you're posting and you are aware and conscious of what your brand is.
Of course.
So when I made the leap in 2018, damn, 2 years now. When I made the leap in 2018 to go full time, and I'm still, man, so grateful, and such a crazy thing to be able to say, yeah, I'm a full-time YouTuber. You know, it's one of those things where you are aware that, you know, your bills are being paid through this medium, so you need to not necessarily force yourself to put stuff out there, but sometimes you do things that, going back to being authentic and honest, sometimes there's things that I have done, and this is a brilliant analogy that a friend of mine told me, and it's just like, I used to take jobs sometimes because I know that I could do it. I know that I could make it work. Whereas now, I'm only taking jobs that I want to make work. It's such a tiny little difference, but I'm done with the I can make it work.
Beautiful, man. Well, Sanj.
Oh, Gregory.
Always appreciate you, your time.
Of course.
You know, thank you for answering all the questions.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Well, you know, I hope, you know, next year everything opens up and I can pull up.
I'm going to Canada for sure. I don't know what it is with Canada.
Yeah.
Last year I was supposed to go. I booked my flights and everything. Flight was supposed to be tomorrow. And then I was just like, I don't know what it is.
All the best for 2021. Happy holidays. You know, enjoy.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it. And hope you guys appreciate what Greg's putting out, man. The guy's just being so consistent. For years I've been telling him, yo, fucking drop this bullshit. Because he's been putting out good shit for a long time. Yeah. And I was like, you got to be more consistent. You got to be more consistent. You got to be more consistent. Because the key with YouTube is consistency. Like, obviously, if you're doing everything else, like being honest and being true to yourself and just showing whatever, at the end of the day, if you're not consistent, you're going to slack.
Yeah.
And my dude is putting out at least one video a week, sometimes even two. High quality, good shit.
Appreciate you.
Support the boy, killing it. Do your thing, brother. I'm so excited, and I'm gassed to see what 2021 has for you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yo, we'll talk, brother. And there you have it, guys. That is going to conclude today's fashion interview by my boy Sanj. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, make sure to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed this type of content. And as always, you can follow me on my Instagram, GREG and TRE, where I post regular outfit pics. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.